subscribe now and press the bell icon. Never miss an update.
Hello, everyone. Welcome to another Leader Spotlight. This time we're going to be talking about Dr. Vegapunk in OP10. So typically you don't see a lot of Vegapunk these days. He hasn't gotten like a crazy amount of support. But either way, I think Vegapunk is one of the most interesting decks out there. And it's actually relatively strong. So let's actually dive into the leader effect first. So this is a 2-life leader. This leader cannot attack. So please don't be put off by that. 2 life can't attack. You're like, oh my god, why even play this? I'll show you why. So activate main once per turn. You can use one Dawn and place up to one 5-cost or less egg type card from your hand, face up, on top of your life, or into play. So essentially, using this ability, you can build up your life or you can build up your board, especially early on. You could play a lot of strong characters round, first hand or second hand using this ability. So today we're gonna play. I think this is a good, interesting like mix of the Vegapunk deck. There's a good amount of aggro in here, also long term or late game strategies. So without further ado, we talked about Vegapunk. Let's go into the next set of cards that I think makes them pretty awesome. There's multiple Vegapunk decks out there. This is the one that I feel like has done really well. I've been testing a lot in simulators. I bought it to local tournaments, and he's at a really good spot. Yes, he has some challenges, but I think this is a great deck overall. So the first card I think it's worth having is your Katakuri. You want to have, I think 3 of these is a good place to be at. You could do 4 if you want, but Katakuri is really great because he's 8k attack, which is awesome. But on top of that, on play, put one of your characters at the cost of 8 or less on top or bottom of your opponent's life area. This card is so amazing to just essentially bottom deck or bottom life so many like heavy hitting cards. Like having this is clutch as hell. You're gonna want this. Next is gonna be your Yamato, super strong in this deck. On play, KO up to one of your characters with a cost equal to or less to your total life. So using Vegapunk's ability plus using Katakuri, you can build up a lot of life, either combined with your life, your opponent's life. So you can easily, using Yamato's ability, take out 5 cost or more characters, which is really important. And the second part of her ability, if you have 1 or less life, you may add up to one of your cards from the top of your deck into your life area. So another great way to essentially build up your life. So I think having 4 of these is super crucial. Then the rest of our cards are going to be like Vegapunk slash Egghead cards. So let's sort of dive into it. I love having Atlas. I think having 3 to 4 is great here. Atlas is so awesome because as long as you have lower life than your opponent, this card cannot be KO'd. So often will you see people try to attack this card and you can't do anything because Vegapunk starts at 2 life. I think he's the only leader I'm aware of that starts at 2 life. So by default, you're already at the lowest life. So this card can't be killed. Now be careful. We're talking about KO. This card can still be trashed or use other effects on it, bottom deck. But in terms of like just being KO'd, you can't. Atlas is super awesome for that. So having 4 I think is good. Next is going to be Edison, 2k counter, but on top of that, if you have 2 or less life, draw 2 cards, trash 2 cards from your hand. Super awesome, good way to get the cards you need. And yeah, this card, the art for this is pretty badass too. So having 4 of those is awesome. Next is Shaka, which I think is one of the best blockers in the game. 1k counter, he's a blocker. And the reason why I love having him is because you can use Vegapunk's ability, put him on top of your life, and then once he's dead, right, he gets attacked, you can play him out. This is his trigger ability is, if your leader is Vegapunk, play this card. Many other cards here have the same exact trigger here. So same with Atlas. If you put him on your life, you get him back into your character field. Same with Edison, super impactful. Shaka is annoying for people to play around, but I love him. Next is this guy right here, super sick. And one of the things I love about him is, besides if your leader is Vegapunk, play this character on KO. If you have 2 or less life, summon a 4-cost or below. So essentially, if you have Shaka in the graveyard and this guy gets KO'd, now you can play Shaka again. And one of the key themes you're going to notice is Vegapunk, you want to be around 3, or I would say 2 life or less most times to use a special ability from like Edison, this guy. So Vegapunk, even though it might not seem super like intuitive to play at low life, he does well in low life. There's enough counters. You have good blockers with Shaka. So yeah, this guy is pretty cool. Next is going to be our Frankie, another 2K counter. Definitely recommend running 4 of these. The counter part is super awesome. And the trigger is pretty cool too. Draw 1 card. Then if you have 1 or less life, play this card. So really cool card. I like Frankie. I mostly use him for the counter ability, but it's also nice to play him off the trigger. Next, we're going to have Rocket Luffy here. This is also an Egghead card, counter 1k. 5 cost, 6k. Activate main. You may play this card in the trash, and if your life is 2 or less, KO one of your opponents that cost 4 or less. So essentially a great way to KO any cards in your opponent's size that have the cost of 4 or less. It does suck that when you activate main, you kind of trash him, but this is where you can trash him. If he gets KO'd, you can bring him back. A lot of cool combos. This card has saved me so many times. I love Rocket Luffy. Next is going to be Lilith. This is going to be your main searcher for the deck. You play her, look at top 5 card, pick an egghead, and put the cards back in any order you want. So having this is pretty awesome. Same with the trigger. If your leader is Vegapunk, play this card. So hopefully you guys are starting to see this common theme here. If you're at 2 life, you can use some abilities. If your leader is Vegapunk, you can play these cards. So because of this, like you can go from having a relatively empty board to being able to play out a lot of characters as they attack you, which is really cool. Next is Nami, which I think is like an upgraded version of Rocket Luffy. You may trash 1 card with Trigger. Most cards in your deck is going to have Trigger, so that's easy. And then you essentially KO a 5 or less character card, which is pretty awesome. And then if your hand has 3 or less cards, draw 1. A lot of utility here. I love having her. I think you want to have 4 of these. 4 Rocket Luffys, 4 Nami, and thank me tomorrow. And with that, we'll go into the last set of cards. Because in OP10, you have so many large bodies like Shanks, Teach, you need Raigo. You can run 2, but I think having 3 is good. 4 might be too much. For people who don't know, essentially you play Raigo and you KO any character, which is super phenomenal. Without Raigo, you're going to be in a really bad spot. So definitely have 2 to 3 of these. If you want to be brave and do 4, feel free. Next is Please Save Me, Quasar, so many other random names. I'm not sure why this card has so many names depending on which region you're playing it in. But the counter is pretty cool. If you have 2 or less life, give one of your leader characters 3,000 power, which is cool, but I primarily like to use the trigger ability here. So you put this under your life, and when this card in your life is taken, the trigger here is play up to one of your 5 cost or lower egghead card. So using this, you can play out the Shaka, the Rocket Luffy, the Nami, so many different options. So having this on top of your life card, such a clutch thing to do. I love it. So some people do run 4. I think 3 is enough here, especially with this searcher right here. But if you want to run 4, feel free. The next 2 card is going to be in OP09. This card came out, which essentially just lets you look for any trigger cards in your deck, which is almost any card. Most cards in your Vegapunk deck is going to have trigger, so you can use this to find them, which is really cool. I think running 2 is more than enough. And with that, here's our last card. You may not see this a lot at OP10, but I think the stage card is worth having because it gives you a really strong early game. So essentially, when you play the stage card, if your life is 3 or less, set one of your egghead cards as active. So essentially, what you can do early on is you can put down stuff like Shaka and attack them. And once your turn is over, you can put them back into active. Like this card has saved so many of my characters in a lot of my games that I think it's worth having this. I wouldn't run more than 3. I think you can even go down to 2 if you really want. But, I think seeing this card in your first couple of hands is so important. Like early game, this egghead stage card is super important. So with that, this is the OP10 deck list. Again, there's so many different variations of Vegapunk. This is the one I feel like has worked really well for me. I tend to win most of my matches with this. There are some hard matchups like Teach, for example, but like who doesn't have a hard time against Blackbeard? But with that, let's jump into a couple of games, see how this deck works out. I'm probably gonna bring Vegapunk again to my next local tournament, and maybe I'll record some gameplay there. I'm not sure, but yeah, let's jump in, play some games, and let's see if we can learn. All right, let's get into another Vegapunk game. This time we're going against Bonnie, of course. Bonnie, I don't like her at all. Ooh, got some really nice cards in hand. Oh, she thinks this is a pretty good hand. Reason why I don't like Bonnie, whenever I'm attacking, she can rest up to one of my opponent or my leader or character. So it's really unfortunate, especially when you have a character like Vegapunk who can't attack. If she's able to rest my other characters, it messes up my early game, which is really unfortunate. But we'll make it work. Let's pick up the Shaka. End their turn. Lilith is a really great searcher. I love playing her. Like usually getting her out first or getting the stage, super important. Of course, Bonnie is searching here. Nice. She doesn't have any Dawn for next turn, which is really beneficial for us. So because I'm going to put Atlas down, just because Atlas can be KO'd, long as I have less life than her or than my opponent. So we'll deploy Atlas. Can we play anything else? No. We'll just go ahead and do the attack, kill the searcher. You don't want to leave these searchers around. Always a bad call. Because especially if you leave the searcher around, you're trading one Dawn and they get to draw a card. Their hand size is already at 6, so it can get out of control relatively quickly. Cool. We'll end our turn here. I really wish we had our stage card so we could set her back to active, but I'm not too worried. We have some good counters in hand. We do have another Lilith, which is nice. Let's see where we end up. Of course, going in for the attack. And we will probably eat that. 5, 6, 7. Nah, I don't want to save her. She did leave one Dawn around just so she can do her craziness. So let's actually put down a Lilith here. And then we have Shaka. No, I already have Shaka in hand. I'm actually going to take this Nami. This Nami is going to be important for us. And then I'm going to use... You know what? Let's actually go ahead and attack first. And then we'll put down a character because he's probably going to rest to Lilith, which is perfectly fine. Boom, good stuff. And then we'll use our leader ability, deploy a card. Let's actually just put on Shaka. It's always nice to have a blocker. So they have 4 health, 9 cards. Damn, Jesus Christ. I wish there was a pudding for yellow cards that you can use, but that probably would be too OP. Of course, the Cavendish. Always nice. 3 Dons left. Ooh, a blocker. And then, with Bonnie, you essentially always have to keep one Don around. But we're going to counter out of this. We're not going to give her the satisfaction. I don't want to get rid of this Nami. I'll get rid of this Frankie, which is perfectly fine. Boom. So now the question becomes, what do we want to do here? I think we have to use the Nami. Yeah, let's actually do that. We'll use Nami, and we'll blow up this Cavendish. Deploy a card. Select a card to trash. We want to keep our 2K counter, so Cavendish, goodbye. Oh, look at that. We got another Nami. That actually works out perfectly. So now we could blow up this thing. I don't think it's worth doing that. Let's actually go in for the attack. So we're going to go ahead and use Lilith, or actually we'll attack with Atlas first. Let's do a 7K hit here. Yep. That's perfectly fine. And even if I attack with my Shaka, he's probably just going to block out of it. So it's not going to be worth it, in my opinion. But we could put down this Edison. Yeah, let's do that. Select 2 cards to trash. Boom. Who do we want to get rid of here? We'll get rid of the Luffy. It's funny, we got rid of the 2 cards that we just picked up. End our turn. We have a full board size, but Bonnie gets very dangerous, especially around 10 Dons. You can play the big body Dofi, which can freeze 3 cards if I'm not mistaken. So definitely a dangerous place to be at. And she still has 8 cards in hand. Holy shit. So the Atlas still can't be KO'd, which is nice. Oh, I see. Okay. Blow this card up. We don't want to give her up, so we'll just counter out of it. Boom. We have another Lilith in hand, which is quite nice. We have 9. Let's see. So we'll actually put down this Yamato. But before we do that, let's actually kill the Searcher, because I don't like it. Searcher, goodbye. He's got to rest one of my cards, which is perfectly fine. We got 3, we got 5, which is cool. We can take out this Cavendish. Yep, don't worry about it. Put the Yamato down. We'll kill the Cavendish. And now she can't rest anything else, which is cool. So we'll actually go ahead and attack this Searcher right here. Nothing. She still has 9 cards in hand. That is so wild. Going for the attack here. Boom, 2/2, which is good. So end of turn, we still have Shaka. I considered attacking with them, but if next turn she plays out the 10-cost Dofi and freezes him, we don't really want that. So it's all good in the neighborhood. Of course, I hate this kid. But luckily, because we have a Yamato, they can't really put down a blocker, which is... Oh, they actually could put down a blocker. Okay. So we're actually going to blow up the blocker, and then we'll attack this guy. So we'll go in. We'll actually take that. Not an issue. Boom. We got to play this intelligently now. So we're actually going to go ahead and deploy a card, deploy the Nami. We'll trash her. We'll blow this up. Nice. We got a 2k counter. We got 9, 10, 11, 12, 13, 14. 4. Let's do a 15k. 16k. That's a really big swing. Is he going to counter out of it? Probably. Who is he going to rest? You know what? I probably should have... I really hate this kid. I probably should have just done the last 2 Dons, gone in for the attack here. Because if I can't kill this, I can't attack with anything else, which is unfortunate. But if he burns all his blocker on this, I think it's perfectly okay as well, too. Yep. Yep, and he's going to counter out. Oh, actually not. That's pretty amazing. So we can actually come in here and do some attacks. So we're going to do a 6k swing, and then we'll do a 7k swing. Yep. We'll go in here. Do a 7k. She has enough cards in hand. We'll probably counter out of this. Nope, actually takes it. Quite interesting. So end turn here. 2 life. She has 1. He has 10 cards in hand. This hand size has been crazy the whole game. I have 2 cards. Bonnie, what shall you do? Of course, kills the Yamato. Attacks her. I'm actually going to give up my Shaka. I don't want her to die. And I don't think I can actually end the game here, but I will try my hardest, though. So we have 4 cards. Okay. Let's actually do... We'll probably save 1 Dawn just to put something on our life, just to be safe. But 6, 7, 8, 9, 10. We'll do a 10k swing first, see what we can pull out. Ooh, I was not expecting the Shanks to come out. I kept thinking the whole time that the big Dofi body's gonna come, but Shanks totally makes sense. Yep. How many cards are you gonna burn in your hand? Yep. Go for it. Alright, cool. They have... Okay, that's not too bad, actually. So actually come in here. Let's do a 7k swing. If you're going to counter out of that. And then we're going to do a big swing here. And then we're going to use this last Dawn to actually play out our Atlas. I think she has enough cards in hand. She's going to block. She's going to counter out of this. There's no way. Yep. as expected. Come on, baby. You have one more in there? Could you imagine I could have won? Oh, I actually won! Yes! And that's how you do with Vegapunk. So even next turn, I think it would have been good. We had the one Dawn. We're going to put our Atlas down. And there's really nothing in here that she could do to kill me out. So, boom, that is it, guys. Awesome to see. Vegapunk, I think he's not top 10, but I think he is strong in OP10. I think EBO2, he's a bit more stronger. He's a good, interesting deck to play. Not the number one rogue deck, that's Reiju, but he's maybe like number 3 or something. But if you enjoy playing a deck with a lot of interesting tech, especially means to do a lot of damage early on, pick Vegapunk. Hello, guys. Let's get into another Vegapunk match in OP10, and this time we're going against Marco. Marco is always fun. I want to see a stage card in my hand when I first during my first go, so that's awesome to see. I'm gonna keep this. I think having Shaka is awesome too. You can put him on top of your life and then play him out. Or he's one of the best blockers in the game. I just love Shaka. He's so cool. So for people who aren't familiar with Marco, Dawn ×1, activate main, draw one card, then place one card from your hand to the top or bottom of your deck. Then give one of your opponent characters -2. That's perfectly cool. So we'll actually come in here and we'll play our stage card initially. Actually, no. Let's split down. You know what? I'm gonna put down a Shaka first, just because having him on board will give us some cover, which is nice. I also like that I have the Raigo. In OP10, there's so many big bodies out there. This is why you want to have like a Raigo. So important. And of course, he's gonna come in with his 3 Dawn, go in for the attack. 8k, we'll take that. Boom, not an issue at all. So we have Chaka in the trash. So if you get Please Save My Life card, we can summon him back, which is pretty cool. We'll actually put the stage card down, and then we'll actually summon another Shaka. Deploy a card, put him down. We have 1, we can't do anything, end turn. Boom. He's pretty cool too. This is the reason why you want to have like, Vegapunk at 2 life usually. It's because Edison, you need 2 life to be able to like draw 2 cards, trash 2 cards. Same with him. If you have 2 or less life, summon at 4 cost to blow from your trash. So that's pretty awesome. We'll see what he does. He plays down his blocker, which is cool. Come in for the attack, buddy. Do it up, Marco. This is such a cool Marco leader. I feel like in locals I haven't seen too many Marcos yet, but hopefully at some point. Got 2k, counter out of that. Boom, draw a card. Now here's the fun part. We can put Luffy down, blow this up, which is pretty cool. So I think we'll actually do that. We can actually put this down, Luffy, and then put down him. Yeah, that's what we'll actually do. So we'll put down this guy right here. We'll go ahead and blow him up. And now we actually have the Edison. So I may actually put the Edison down just so we can do some drawing action, which is always nice. Deploy a card, play the Edison. And we'll get rid of him. Keep our other 2k counter. Keep the Lilith, I think is always great. And now this is why the stage card is so important. I can actually go ahead and attack with my Shaka. And once I do my attack, I can just set him back to active again, which is really nice. Boom, active, no foul, or no harm, no foul. He's searching. What are you searching for, Marco? Hopefully something fun. So we have, come on, Marco, come attack us. I could easily block out of my Shaka. I'm probably not going to do that. I'll probably just counter out of this. Damn. Feeling his board up. So we'll just give up our 2k right here. Boom. What does this ace do? Scourge. Let's draw a card. Ooh. So if he gives down -1, everyone gets 1,000. That's never good. We don't want that. Let's actually put Lilith down, see what we can draw here. I think Atlas is a pretty amazing card here. Or do we want the Nami? You know what? Maybe we'll actually take the Nami right here. That's actually pretty good. So we'll take the Nami. We could put her down for 1 cost. We'll actually do that. Deploy a card, put out the Nami. We'll trash this, get rid of that. We got another Nami in hand. which is quite perfect. So now we're going to go ahead and do some attacks. We'll do some 7k swings. You might assume because Vegapunk himself can't attack that this deck is kind of limited or not as good as other meta decks. I think Vegapunk is pretty awesome, especially being at 2 life. It like kind of messes with the opponent so badly sometimes. So we're down to 2/2 each. When I end my turn, I can actually send Shaka back to active, which is quite nice. He has 7 cards in hand. I have 2, so definitely an interesting place to be at. If he does play a big body, we have Raigo, which is really important here. So our board size looks relatively healthy here, which I'm really cool with. Now, he's searching. He's looking for one of his big bodies and put him out. I'm going to Raigo him to hell. So I'm perfectly content with that. He does have 7 Dawns left, which is kind of interesting. So there's multiple ways to play Vegapunk. There's the aggro Vegapunk. There's a Vegapunk you play super slow all the way to the end. I kind of like the Vegapunk deck I have, even though I haven't seen any Kategories or Yamato. They're super powerful, especially if you can build up your life stack. You can make some good damage happen here. Now the Edison, I'll give it up. It's okay. Cool says one. Now we could do the Rashishi, try to pull out. Yeah, let's actually do that. Let's see what we can pull here. We have another Nami. We will take. We'll take Atlas actually. I think Atlas is a pretty good choice here. We can't blow, so we'll actually deploy a card, play our Atlas. And then from here, we can make some good attacks happen, which is nice. So 5. We could put down another Nami. No, I'm going to save the Raigo. So 5, 6, 7, 8. And then we'll do another 6. We'll do like a 9k swing with Shaka. So that's the thing you want to do with Vegapunk. You just want to slowly just take their life out. And yep, there we go. His card size, hand size is dropping too, which is nice. Let's go ahead and do a 9k swing here. He's going to eat that for sure. And now he's down to 1 life. We still have 2, which is quite nice. And when we end our turn, Shaka, look at that. Back into active mode. This card is such a cheese. I love it. So awesome. I wish there was an alternate art Egghead. Built up a deck of those, but again, such an awesome card. I only run 3 in my deck, but I can see an argument to run 4. Like the Reiju deck, you want to see this stage as ASAP. He has 10 cards in hand. Either he has a big body or he's looking for a big body, but even with that, this is why Raigo is so important. Now, this Boa is definitely very dangerous, though. 8k. She can seriously do some damage here, but I'm not too worried. We'll see. Yep. Make your move, Marco. Now, if he doesn't put a blocker down next turn, we might be able to kill him. So this is definitely a dangerous spot for him. He debuffed the Shaka perfectly. Oh, we got the Sanji, the Rayleigh. Yep. Of course. And we lost our Shaka. Not an issue. Man, this is he almost had no bug. He went from like a almost empty board to like a full board, which is nice. Yeah, go ahead. Kill our Nami. Else not coming for our life. We'll Boa attack. Yep, there we go. Use his trigger effect. Boom. And then on KO, we can actually summon someone else back, which is really nice. So what are we going to do here? We're actually going to Raigo his bum ass right here. So boom. Raigo, get out of here. No one likes you. We have a 2k counter. The question is, can we go for game here? I don't know if we can or not. Yes, we might be able to end it here. Let's actually go for it. So we have 6, 5, 6, 7. We'll do a 7k swing. He has no blockers on board, so we'll see what happens here. Yep, he takes that. We're going to do a 6K swing here. It's probably going to counter out of that. Not an issue. Oh, I look at that. He just couldn't take it. So I think we definitely would have had him. How many counters does he have in hand? He only 3 counters, so we would have killed him. And boom, Vegapunk right there. As you notice, he kept us, he never really attacked us. He wasn't really able to, we were able to put out really big bodies. This is awesome. This is typically how a Vegapunk game will go. But let's go into another one and see what other damage we can cause.